Okay, I'm going to cut straight to the chase in this video because there's an epidemic out there of people just doing bad sourcing methods and methods that are way more complicated than their skill levels allow them to be. Last thing you want to do is be doing method number 4 of sourcing when you're a brand new seller. You need to work up the chain because this is the only way you're going to A, learn the market, and also actually find products. Because if you're going straight to method 4, you're not going to find anything because you have no idea what you're looking for. You're going to be looking forever. Because at the end of the day, 99.99999% of listings on Amazon, you probably won't be able to sell. So you need to allow yourself to get into a point where you're looking in an area where maybe 80% of the products you're looking at don't work. And then you have a way more chance of actually finding items. In this video, I'm going to show you 4 different methods of sourcing. I'm going to go up the ladder of like easiest for beginners, then gradually up to a point where it's a little bit harder. Definitely don't be starting if you're a beginner, but maybe ones you can eventually work up to when you actually do learn the market. Because right now you might be here with a very small catalog. Maybe you have like 2 listings, maybe 4, maybe 5 items that you're buying from a store, and you're making money. You know this whole thing works, but you need access to more products. You just need to be able to sit down and track down items, and you're probably doing it the wrong way. And that's what this video is for, to show you what you might be doing wrong, to give you some examples, to explain my thought process. Again, this is just my thought process. It works for me. It works for all my students. So now I share it like this. These are my opinions. I'm going to show you how one day you can eventually get to a point where you do have a big catalog. And obviously, before I even jump into it, you probably want some proof. Like, do I know what the hell I'm talking about? Well, here's a 30-day period on Sellerboard, just all the different items that were in my storefront at this point and the amount of sales that they made in terms of units sold and the revenue. As you can see, this page, I believe, has 50 items on it. I can go to page 2, look through again. We got a bunch of different items here that I've been selling. Page 3, still going. So now we're at right around 200 different items, or what are we at? 150 items. Page 4, and all these are different ASINs. So page 5, now we're at 200. So as you see, well over 200 different items that were sold on the storefront within a 30-day period. So I know how to find products very well. That's what I'm best at. I can sit down at a computer and track down items with ease. Obviously, it didn't start like that, but I'm glad that I was able to come across method number 2 pretty quickly on. And you probably know these methods. That's the thing. You know what it is. But you might be trying to do like method 3 and 4 when really you're at a skill set of method 1, maybe method 2. Honestly, I hate method 1. I'm going to discuss on it a bit because there's a lot of potential issues that come up with it. But this essentially is just a video of all of these 4 different sourcing methods, benefits to them, cons to them, when you should be doing them, and what to really look out for when you're doing all 4 of them. My favorite's number 2. So we'll touch on that a bit. But end of the day, as you work up this hierarchy of methods, you're typically going to have ease of finding products, and then as you get to method 4, it's going to be much harder to find products. Now, this is if you're brand new, because once you're good, then you know the market better, then you go to method 4 and you can still easily track down items. It's just a skill set at the end of the day. But with a 0 level skill set, you probably want to start here because this is what's going to open the gates to being able to find products easily. A lot of different items. Now, the only issue being is these quality of these items aren't the best, right? Like, they're not as good. They're probably not going to be replenishable, probably higher chance of tanking. So you want to eventually work up this hierarchy of items to make this a lot easier for you to build a sustainable business. That's not to say that these items you find here can't be sustainable, especially when you get to method 2. Method 1, on the other hand, probably not going to be very sustainable, but it's still something you might want to start with if you're brand new with a tighter budget. Because maybe you'll have a bit more ROI in some aspects. So as we progress, method number 1, level easy. This is essentially just sourcing clearance products. And this is probably where maybe you're starting or maybe not. But I know a lot of people that are doing retail arbitrage or generally are starting here. They're sourcing clearance section at TJ Maxx, Marshalls, and Ross, which obviously works. There's opportunity there. The only issue being is if you're brand new, you don't really know how to read the charts too well. So you might be buying a lot of listings that are on variations. You're thinking they're selling when in reality they're really not. And now you're running into an issue of your products getting stuck and not moving. Another issue being is you're sourcing where a lot of new sellers are going to source. A lot of new sellers are going to clearance sections like Walgreens, on Bed Bath & Body, even if you're doing OA, Champ Sports, and they're buying these items as well with you. So now you're running into the issue of competing against sellers that are new, don't have a lot of capital, panic, don't know the market, and now you're just selling listings that are tanking in price. That's why when you see so many of those listings that you may have found in clearance, you just notice that they're tanking in price. It's because you're looking everywhere where the new sellers are looking. So realistically, I'm trying to get away from method 1 right away if I'm you, right? Maybe you want to do it just to get some proof of concept because it's easy to find some items at the moment that work. and then you send them in and you realize they really don't work, and then you really need to pivot to these other methods. So get through this stage as fast as possible. If you can avoid it altogether, then please do, because a lot of these items are going to be tough unless you kind of have a competitive advantage. You know where to look that most people aren't looking, but generally if you're just going to TJ Maxx, Marshalls, and Ross, good luck. A lot of those items are going to end up drying up. Same goes with these types of websites. That's all I'll say on method one. I don't recommend it, but if you need proof of concept, that's good to go. A good example of an item actually was this item that got clearance at Home Depot. Wow, it just lost its buy box too. It was there the other day. I was looking at it, but as you can take a look here and see what has actually happened. I mean, these are some examples of what can happen in these situations when you just get a huge amount of sellers coming on. Price just gets absolutely wrecked, and this is definitely a loss. This is the buy cost. This is just a big loss. So just watch out, because this is obviously a big cause of concern with this method. So generally, you really want to progress to level 2, and method number 2 is my favorite way of sourcing. If you were to force me to sit down and find 50 items in one day, this is what I would go to, and I think I'd be able to do it. And this is actually the storefront stocking method. This is how I build my whole catalog, especially early on. And at this point, now that I've been doing it for so long, I just have so many items to circle through from old items I sold in the past from this method that my margins are so high now because I get to pick and choose what to put money into. So what it is, if you don't know, it's copying your competitors. It's seeing what is everyone else selling and trying to copy them, right? If they can find it profitably, then there's a good chance that you can also find it profitably. But the key with reverse sourcing and storefront stocking is looking in the right spot. You have to be looking in a spot that's arbitrageable. So what's considered arbitrageable? Arbitrageable is a listing that has historically a lot of competition on it. So you see it maybe has 20, then it's up to 60, then it's down to 30, then it's down to 40, then it's up and it's back and forth. Fluctuation in price, stable-ish price. The price can even go through phases of being profitable, not profitable. That's still an indication of the item being arbitrageable. That is the type of sellers you want to be stocking. You want to be looking at those listings and pulling the sellers from there and stocking them. That is what's going to lead you to some products. Not going to the best sellers and finding those sellers, because you're just going to be finding sellers that are doing private label, brand direct, wholesale, even some other methods, potentially even like drop shipping in some cases. You want to make sure you're not stocking sellers that are doing those businesses. So yes, we're looking for items with this method, but at the end of the day, what we're really doing with storefront stocking is we're looking for good storefronts. Because if you've had any somewhat success with this method, this is what you know for a fact. You are sourcing, you can't find a single thing, and then it comes in a wave. You find a bunch of stuff in one given moment. And it's not because you just randomly just got good. No, it's because you came across a good storefront, and that storefront has a bunch of items. So be very picky with the storefronts you decide to stock, because that's going to make or break that session for you. Okay, and the reason I like this method, again, is because A, you're exposing yourself to all kinds of brands. You're exposing yourself to all kinds of niches. You're going from Amazon to online. So now you're learning who has what brands and who has what coupons. And now you can eventually correlate all of that skill that you've learned into a later method, method number 4, right? You're learning the market, and then you can jump to method number 4, which we'll touch on here in a sec. This is the easiest way to find products, in my opinion. And what storefront stocking is essentially, we're using SellerAmp. We're coming into here, we're seeing what other sellers are selling, obviously having a storefront that we know is arbitrageable, and we're just trying to find these items profitably. So we come into here, we see we need to find an item like this for, around $4. You do a search, can you find it for that price? Maybe we can get close to it. So let's dig a little bit deeper. And essentially we're coming in here, trying to throw on coupon codes, trying to make it profitable, seeing if it's worth it for us to buy or not. That's in a sense what storefront stocking is. And you get really good at it, and you can run through these storefronts fast. That's when you start finding a bunch of items. But you need to get efficient at it, and that just takes practice. And the best way and the best piece of advice I can give to anybody is make sure you're picky with your storefronts. That's the most important thing when it comes to this method. Again, it's called storefront stocking. You're looking for good storefronts to stock. Keep that in mind. Don't just look all over the place. Because as we progress with the method number 3, and at this level, it's a little bit trickier, especially for new sellers, because now we're using Product Finder. Now we got to come into here, throw in a bunch of random filters that you have no idea what you're looking for if you're brand new. Now, if you're not brand new, you kind of know what you're looking for, right? Now you've kind of done reverse sourcing for a bit. You know what brand, you know you can get brand A from this website for the best price. So what you can do in these situations is come into here. You can come to the bottom. You can throw in a brand. And now you throw in this brand, and you can just reference products that have multiple offers on them, reference products that are within a certain price point, reference products that are selling a certain pace, find products that don't have Amazon on them, find products that do have a buy box, And you could be very specific with your search. And now you can take this brand that you know you can get from this website, find a bunch of listings of that brand on Amazon, go to that website that you know has it for the best price, and now you find new opportunities that a lot of people might not be tapping into, right? It gives you that competitive advantage. You need to have some kind of advantage when you're doing this method. You can't just be coming in here brand new, because you're going to just put in a bunch of random filters and find nothing. Okay, so we can do tailored, targeted searches in this situation, right? And some examples of searches we can do shrinking offer counts. We can find products that had 30 offers on average, 30 days ago, and today they only have 10 offers. So clearly that's an indication that people are selling through. Price is probably coming up. There's some opportunity there. Okay, another example could be newly listed ASINs. ASINs that were listed 5 months ago, right? They could be less tapped than the listings that have been here forever. There's opportunity there. We can do that with Product Finder. We can look for hazmat products if you're approved. Big opportunity there, right? You can sell, again, the brand direct search. We can look for direct brands. We can also do storefront stocking with Product Finder. We can throw in a bunch of different seller IDs here and filter in items that are only selling at minimum $30 or minimum, at least a 10,000 BSR, max 10,000 BSR. Like, those are just some examples we can plug in here with Product Finder. So it's, again, you need to know the market at this point to really make this work. And then once you get through here, now you're on the big dog stage, the level hard. This is something you can go ahead and implement eventually when you learn the whole market and you're just an expert at the market, right? You know something that 99% of others don't. This gives you that massive competitive advantage where you know what this website runs this promo this given day every single week. So you can go in there and find items out of that website that others don't even know is running. This is eventually what you can get to. Now, if I'm being honest, I do some manual sourcing from time to time, but my go-to method at the end of the day is still reverse sourcing and Product Finder. Like, these are the two methods that I love to do. They're the ones where I find the most amount of volume of products, or the ones that I like to, and again, like when I'm buying new products, I'm testing. I'm buying like 10 to 30 units depending on the volume and the price. This gives me that opportunity to test so many different items and find the best ones out of them and really double down. Whereas with manual sourcing, you could, it's much tougher to track down items that are going to be profitable. Simply because, again, it's just harder. It's harder to find items. You're not going to find them as fast. These are really the 4 methods of sourcing for online arbitrage. Obviously, we have other ones as well, but these are the most basic ones. And this is the type of way you want to eventually progress, as you sell. So you might be here, try and get away from method 1, which is sourcing clearance, as fast as you possibly can. Try and get to a point where now you can start doing reverse sourcing and you're looking in the right spots, because this is going to introduce you to so many new items when you start getting good at it. And then when you get really good at it, you can start throwing those filters into Product Finder. You can do reverse sourcing with Product Finder. And again, I touched on it. You can start messing with that a bit and finding, again, more opportunities like you would with reverse sourcing, but maybe you can catch them a little bit sooner, so you can make even more money on them. And then eventually, once you're like a year in, a couple months in, and you know the whole market, you have a competitive advantage, you can start implementing some manual sourcing as well to really build out your catalog. But at the end of the day, you can use all 4 of these methods in combination to start tracking down items, okay? At the end of the day, it's all about how many items can you find, how wide can you spend that money, because that's what's going to build you that sustainable Amazon arbitrage business. And it needs to be looked at, again, on a product-per-product basis. So you need to always be introducing a bunch of items to your store. Otherwise, you're going to get stuck, you're going to get stagnant. And this is just, again, all my opinions and just what's worked for me and what works for all of my students, okay? Pretty much all my students have, as soon as they've been doing it for 1, 2, 3 months, they're starting to get to a point where they have 50 different ASINs in their catalog. We're not panicking when something goes wrong. If an item ends up tanking and we got to break even on it, no one cares, because we have 49 other items to sell. And that's the type of business that you want to build if you want a sustainable business. Okay, but you need to get through these stages of learning these methods. Like, this is the most important thing you got to do in the beginning, is learn these methods, get away from this as fast as you can, and really double down on reverse sourcing if you're taking my opinion, and then eventually double down on this as well. And then you can just filter that in later. Again, these are just my opinions. This is how I would be doing it if I was brand new. I say this because this is what I did and it worked for me. Method number 2 is my best friend. It is still the one that I would do to this day if I need to. And it's the one that I would do when I want to source for myself and find a bunch of items. Anyways, I hope this video was very informative and helped you kind of get a sense of where you need to be sourcing and the methods that you should be doing if you are trying to build this business up and find a bunch of items. I encourage you to look through some of my other videos if you're still struggling, if you need help with sourcing, whatnot. I have a lot of sourcing videos that kind of go through these different methods, especially method number 2, because again, it's my favorite. If you are 100% committed to making Amazon work, maybe you've been doing it for a little bit and you're still struggling and you want guaranteed results, that's right, I do one-on-one coaching and my results are guaranteed because I work with you for however long it takes to build you a sustainable business. There's a link down below. You can book in a call with us, give you a quick demo of what coaching actually looks like, and if it's something you're interested in, then we can get started right away. If you want any specific videos or guides made on this channel, just drop them down below in the comments and I'll be sure to make one of those too. That's it for this. See ya.